What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Miltrick Media. I am your host, Miltrick, and I am here with singer-songwriter from Maryland, Plantad. Plantad, how are you? How's it going?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm going good. I'm excited to have you on the show. The first guest I've had from, as far as you've been, like I guess Maryland. I've never had someone from Maryland up here, but you're up in New York for the weekend. So it's awesome. So yeah, what inspired this trip up to New York City?
First question, have you ever had someone outside of like New York?
So far, New York City, you are the 15th. No, you're going to be the 16th episode. So outside of New York City, no. I don't believe I've had, no.
No
not
way.
Not outside New York. I had like someone from Long Island, someone from like, they live in Newport, but they were from Long Island in the city.
But this is your first like kind of outside the waters.
My first outside the boroughs guest. So I'm excited, man.
Nice. Well, yeah, I'm glad to be your first one.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm hyped.
But yeah, what inspired this trip was that like I just wanted to like visit my friends, but also like I just did some sessions in there, songwriting sessions. I visited my friend who lives in Brooklyn. I just wanted to see some shows too, like of like, indie rock and indie pop shows. So that was really fun.
Nice. Yeah, let's talk. So what shows did you hit up this weekend? What'd you get to see?
I went to the show in Bushwick Public House with Robert Leslie and I think the What Band with the two A's.
I heard that's a great venue. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, like it's a random like literally. I just went up there and like, is there a show coming up? And like, yeah, like I just went down. Pretty cool. Amazing.
That's the best part about New York, and that's what I love because there's always something going on, especially in venues in Brooklyn and Manhattan, even on Staten Island. Like, if you just go on a whim, there'll probably be an event or a show going on, and you could just go check it out and chill.
Yeah, I feel also like New York is such a vast, different land. That's like there's so many genres of music anywhere. I feel like I've never seen a country act here, but I'm assuming there's probably a lot of like different.
Yeah, there is. I believe there is. Yeah, like it's maybe not as big, but there definitely is.
Sure.
There's probably a scene, some songwriters going. So you also had some songwriting sessions, so that's cool. So let's talk about the songwriting sessions.
Yeah, so I wrote some songs for like people like my friends. One's a country artist she's not a country artist here per se, but she's a country artist like in like Nashville. She's kind of visiting as well too. But we just did one. It's kind of in the works still, but it's not like super done. I think it's just for her, not for both of us. But yeah, I usually do sessions for people who like want to write a song like for them, or like it doesn't have to be like a duet with us, but definitely I want to like I love collaborating as well too.
Yeah, so that's cool. So you write songs for your own. You write songs for yourself, but you write songs for other artists and songwriters as well. So you do a little bit of both.
Yeah, for sure.
That's cool. So let's start all the way from the beginning. Who is Plantad?
Who is Plantad? It's a loaded question.
Who is Plantad as a person? Like, where are you from? Where were you born? Let's start from the beginning.
Well, actually, I was born in the Philippines.
Cool.
Manila, Philippines. Yeah, and I always say that I'm like raised in Baltimore because I am raised in Baltimore, to be honest. So I came here in the U.S. when I was 13 or 12, 13 I think, and then actually freshly 13.
Nice.
Yeah, and I just lived all my life in Baltimore City. Yeah.
Nice. What is Baltimore like? I've never been down there. I've always wanted to go. What's Baltimore like?
In terms of what though? In terms of like the like culture,
I guess
music?
is it like New York City? Is it a fun place to grow up?
Oh yeah, man, it's a fun place. It's so especially where I live. It's super diverse, super chill. I mean, like I live in the county first, so I live in Essex, which is kind of like super chill, it's not country, but like there's such a mix between the country folk and like like people who grew up like loving like sailing. Can I curse in here, by the way?
Yeah, you can.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Okay, I just don't want to slip.
Thank you for asking, though. But yeah, you can. Yeah.
Okay, cool. But yeah, like sailing and like I feel like there's also a mix too of people in the projects as well too in that scene. So I feel like I've got a cool mix between the two. So, but now I live in Baltimore City, so which still is a fun place in terms of music wise. I feel like Baltimore is a genreless city, meaning that I can see someone in the act of like I actually just had a show recently that like I had an indie rapper, alternative rapper, I have an indie R&B artist, and then I had a funk rock band, and then me, who's an indie pop, like indie rock, kind of artist, which is really cool.
That's a cool mix. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So yeah, is Baltimore kind of like New York City as well? Are there like different boroughs? Like, is Baltimore City the heart of Baltimore?
The heart of Maryland, you meant?
I guess, yeah, like how like we have like, the 5 boroughs here. Like, is Baltimore like that as well, or it's just the one main city?
Just the one main city, yeah.
I
Just
got
the
you.
one
I
main
got you.
city, yeah.
I've always wanted to take a road trip down there. I've been to Washington D.C. when I was younger, but because Baltimore is like a nice 4.5 hour drive. Like,
Yeah.
I love exploring new cities, so it's like it's a cool trip you could get done in a day and not be exhausted. Like a 4 hour trip, and it's just a new place. I've always wanted to take a trip down there.
Depends on what you like though. What do you like in visiting cities though? Like do you like looking
I
at
just like
bars?
being in a new city and like just breaking the threshold of just going there just to go there. Like
Yeah.
just seeing random things that's like popular or not. Like it could be like restaurants, bars, venues, anything. Like especially if it's my first time going, anything goes for me. Like I don't care. I'm open to whatever. It's just being in a new place is interesting because it's like why not? Like the spontaneity behind it. You know what I
Are
mean?
you a fan of like crab cakes?
I could dig a crab cake. Yeah, why not?
I mean, we're really known for crabs. So
Oh,
like,
you are?
yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
okay.
So Maryland is very well known for crabs, especially Baltimore too. I feel like, yeah, we're. I mean, like if you want to explore a lot of things in Baltimore,
Yeah.
there's so many different like. I mean, there's no boroughs, but there's different neighborhoods. I live in like Hamden, or near Hamden, which is kind of your artsy scene. I
Got
mean,
you.
art. There's a lot of artists that I know that live there.
I know what you mean.
You
Yeah,
know.
yeah. I didn't know even Baltimore or Maryland. It's known for like what sailing. I didn't even know that.
Yeah, well, not really. Like, I feel like where I lived in the county was known for sailing.
Gotcha,
Or
gotcha.
maybe like I just know that it's a big marina. So I feel like
Okay.
there's a lot of people with boats and all that kind of stuff. But also there's a lot of people in the projects too. So it's like kind of a mix of both. You know,
Mm-hmm.
like you have your affluent people plus like you have like your kind of low income, which is like where we live, which is really cool.
I got you. I got you. So the name Plant Dad, that is your artist name. When did you come up with that name?
It's a good question. Plant that. Well, there's two stories to that one. One is that I just have a lot of plants, and like it's kind of a boring story. But like I feel like every band that I like is like super common with names, like like Tame Impala or like like have you heard of Tame Impala?
Of course, yeah.
Yeah, and then Vampire Weekend.
They're playing at Barclays, I think, in March. And I was
No
thinking about going
way.
because it'd be sick.
Dude, yeah, he's amazing. Like
Yeah, Kevin Barker?
Yeah. And then like Vampire Weekend, which is like just super common names. I was like, or like, even like this guy named Dayglow. Have you heard of Dayglow before?
Yeah, yeah. I first
cool.
heard of him because his song was going viral, "Close to You."
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's a bop.
That's a good song. And like I
Yeah.
feel like that's like like Dayglow, super common name. So I was like, you know what? Like I want a common name of like a band name, like or I'm not a band but solo project. I was like, what kind of relates to me? So I just I looked everywhere. I was like, okay, like I can be, I don't know, you know what I mean? Like super weird, like I don't know, like music. I feel like plant that is kind of serves me because I do have like 6 plants in my house. Or like I started planting during the pandemic.
You're a plant father.
Yeah, exactly. And
You got your own big family.
yeah, dude. People always ask me in every show, like, how many plants do you have? And I'm like, I only have 6. Okay, so that makes sense. You're a dad. You're not a plant like lord or whatever. You're a
Yeah.
plant dad. That makes sense.
But it's a cool name. Like
Thank
it is a unique name. And it can be for a solo project or it could be for a band. It could be for anything really. Like it could sound like, a band name or solo artist name.
Right.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? That's
yeah,
cool.
For
That's
sure.
really cool.
For sure.
How long have you been going by Plant Dad?
Been a year now.
Been a year?
Only been a year, yeah.
Nice. So before that, were you just releasing music under your name? Did you have a different artist name?
I've never released music at all. I mean, like I've been such a I've always created music, so I feel like it's my first time releasing music in general. Just because I feel like I was just so super confident that Plan Dad was releasing cool stuff, as in like the music that I really enjoy. So I was like, you know what, I'm gonna release it. But like I've always like released towards my name. I actually even have a band called the Wontons as well too.
The Wontons.
Yeah,
That's cool.
Yeah, and like
I gotta check it out.
Yeah, it's like indie folk, indie, like kind of the Beatles inspired. But yeah, like I had that, but we never released anything in Spotify. Or we are gonna release something soon though. The Wontons. Like we're gonna do like a surprise.
You
one.
heard it here first.
Yeah, but yeah, like I've always like made music and like was in the music scene, but never released it until Planned Out, which is really cool.
I got you. Because I first discovered you, I believe, through Instagram.
Yeah.
Through Instagram stories. I believe it was Laura Meets Musicians. Shout out Laura Meets Musicians and her page. She's
her.
a content creator and artist. I believe a songwriter as well from Italy. And she made this cool blog out of her Instagram channel. She has a website where she was promoting a lot of American artists. I believe it may have been just American artists. I'm not sure if also European artists, but she would reach out. She would do these features, like these blog features. And that's where I first discovered your page and channel, I think.
Oh, yeah.
Because you were featured, I think, I don't know if it was spring of 21 or spring of 20.
Sure, yeah.
But I remember, like, I first saw about, because it was your debut single, She Got Me High, I think from her page.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, dude. I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, she's amazing, man. Literally,
Yeah, shout out to her. She is amazing.
Yeah, she's such a forefront of like, you know, like just people who are trying to make it in the music industry.
She's working hard. Like the content she makes, just the consistency. She's still going hard. Like I think she was doing it for a couple of years.
Yeah,
and it's high quality content. It's great. She's giving people a platform.
Yeah, I feel like too. Like, I feel she's growing as well too, which is really awesome. Yeah, yeah. I just talked to her recently because like she's gonna do a blog post about my new song. But yeah, she's super super caring, super generous. Yeah, cool. Shout out to her.
And I think she's an artist too. Like some of the stuff she's posted, I think she has a second account. Like the art she's posted, it's really cool. It's really sick.
For sure. Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, that's going back to that. She Got Me High. I think that's where I first saw you, and I remember hearing that, and that like I felt some like the indie influences, also some like the '80s electro influences, right? Yeah. So that was your debut single as Plant Dad, right?
Yes.
So let's talk about that single from the beginning. When did you first start writing it? What was going through your head in terms of the lyrical themes, the production, and the inspiration behind She Got Me High in general?
Okay. I'm going to go through a long list.
Go for it. Go through it, yeah.
No, but the first iteration of She Got Me High was like kind of in, like my friends and I were in 4th of July. Like this was like, actually I wrote this one in the pandemic. Like, you know, like, and like we just, to be honest, as being young, like, dumb adults, we were like, oh dude, we're like you know, we're gonna go camping, and this thing called, I think is near the Potomac or whatever, Potomac River, and we just shot the shit. Like it was just amazing, and like literally like I think I was the only one awake, and I was just playing the guitar, and like I had that melody in my head, and then came that, you know. But the song really is like so many different themes, just because it's like I always say that like songs for me like kind of have one meaning in the beginning, but like it could mean multiple things while you're writing it, or maybe even after too.
That's happened to me as well when I've created my own songs.
Oh, you write songs?
Yeah.
That's awesome. Whoa.
Yeah, I release music under Miltrick. That's my artist name, and yeah, that's what inspired the podcast, Miltrick Media. But yeah, no, I release music under Miltrick. Yeah.
Nice. Nice. What kind of music do you do? Can I ask?
Yeah, of course. No, I would call it right now rhythmic alt rock inspired by hip hop, pop, and indie. My favorite genres growing up was rock music, alt rock, classic rock, and then later on from like junior high, high school on, hip hop. Nice. But I also love pop, indie, electronic, all of it. Like, you know what I mean? I'm inspired by so many genres.
You just love music in general.
Yeah. But it's probably mixed right now, alt rock and hip hop.
Nice. Yeah. But yeah, like, so She Got Me High is really about like kind of my first time. I don't know. I mean, how rated are we in this podcast? Just because it's like super.
Talk about whatever you'd like.
Oh, for real? Okay, so it's about.
Oh, you mean wait? I don't even know what you meant. How deep you want to go in? Like how long we got? Or?
No, dude. Like, as in, like it's not. It's a PG kind of like explanation of the song, because like it is about getting high and about like smoking weed. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, it's all good. Yeah,
is it fine? Okay, cool. So yeah, it's about just like getting high and like having sex. That's the main thing. Yeah. That's the main like kind of like. But in the 3 stories, it's like kind of like, you know, like having a relationship with someone who is not really going so well, or like I feel like the main point of the song is like when you are high, you have this euphoric element to it, but then again, like that euphoria will go away real quick. You know what I mean? So it's like kind of same thing with like weed, you know what I mean? It's kind of like you have this awesome euphoria, and then like after that, it's like, where else is that, you know, gonna go? So I feel like that's like the main point of She Got Me High, is that like it's super awesome in the very beginning, but like then again, what's the outcome of it all, you know?
Yeah. So you started writing that song in the pandemic, and that's a really cool behind the scenes story. Like you're saying, you were friends by the Potomac River. Did I butcher that name?
Potomac, yeah.
That's by DC, like, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you were just jamming with friends on the acoustic guitar, and you were camping. Like that's a really cool backstory behind it.
Yeah.
So did you record this on your own? Did you have an outside producer? Let's talk about the production.
Yeah. Shout out to my friend Jason Alford. His name's Adjacent Sound. Just because his name is Jason, adjacent, you know. Yeah, so I wrote this one Actually, no, no. As in, like, I wrote it, and then like I wanted to produce it just because I know a lot of artists like Claro and like all of them who's made music in GarageBand or Logic, and like somehow made
Yeah.
it cool. So I was like,
Yeah.
okay, let me do it on my own. And then like I did it in GarageBand, and then like it sounded like shit. So it's like, okay, I need to actually like clean it up, and then like put it to an engineer or producer. So I asked my
Yeah.
friend. Well, actually, like he was like, if you want to like let me produce your songs, just ask me. So I asked him, and then just came about, man. Like he cleaned it up. It was pretty cool.
That's cool. And this is
Yeah,
what Jason Alford, you said?
Jason Alford.
He's
Yeah,
from what, Baltimore, Maryland?
Baltimore, Maryland. Yeah.
So he co-produced with you, or he was helping you with some production techniques and tricks. Is that how it worked?
Yeah, for sure. I mean,
That's sick.
he added some like really cool like phase effects, but I think he also added like some static too from like an amp. But also, I think he added like this reverse symbol that where it goes shh, like whenever it comes to the chorus, which is really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like I mean, I'm still inspired by the '80s because I feel like it does have like electronic elements to it. But Jason definitely like I think just put filters on like the keyboard, which is really cool, and just made it super super like punk rock. I mean, it's not punk rock, but like someone called it like while like I was doing like these like submitting for like playlists, someone called it like punk in the '80s electronic punk, which is so weird because I'm like I don't think it's that that's it. You know, what I mean, I don't think that's plant that, but hey, I'll take it. You know.
Is it cool, like when you find out how other people may view your music,
Yeah.
but then it also helps you get like that outside perspective? Like, what genre am I?
Right.
How could I market it moving forward? When you get that outside view,
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
you're an independent. You're independent currently,
Yes. Yeah.
so you talk about playlists.
Mhm.
What do you use to submit the playlist? Do you use Submit Hub? How do you get in contact with curators?
Well, yeah, Submit Hub is the number one. Well, I do email a lot of people. I just research. I feel like I devote most of my time. Well, not most of my time. I do have a job, but like I devote at least like part of my time to looking for playlists, blogs, interviewers, podcasts, whatever. So I can definitely like promote it. You know, because I
Yeah.
mean, like to be honest, like I think for in general for a song, I should have at least like some type of promotion towards it. You know, it doesn't matter single, EP, you know, whatever.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. So when you're trying to find outlets to promote your music, what are you looking for? What are some tips and best practices you could give to fellow independent artists? What do you recommend? When you're trying to find playlists, what are you looking for?
I think a lot of research, just because like some playlists, or I think also in Submit Hub, you have the option to view their playlists, so you see if like if they're a right fit for you. I
That's a
think,
cool feature. I've noted. Yeah, with Submit
yeah,
Hub, yeah, you could see.
and like I feel like I always get the problem of someone's like, oh, you know, like like you're not a right fit, or like you know, our play like you have an awesome song, but it's not a right fit for my playlist. So I feel like that's the number one tip is that you have to look at their songs and see if your influences are there. Just because it's like my influences, I mean, like I don't want to say my influence, but I feel like my contemporaries who I've kind of taken like their techniques or whatever, like Vampire Weekend, Dayglow, you know, all these indie Still Woozy or whatever. Like I would look at their or I would look at the playlist that kind of they curated. Like, oh, if they're there, then I might as well put my music in there just because it's a similar style and taste, you know?
Yeah, yeah. So that's cool. So you're trying to scope out playlists from certain contemporaries and similar artists,
Yeah.
and that's how you sometimes find a fit.
Yeah. I mean, like that's the main thing. I feel like if you're trying to well, I mean, some artists are super genreless. I have Baltimore friends who are kind of like super indie, but like no genre. Like they could like do a hip hop song here, but also they could do like an R&B indie or an indie folk. So it's like, you know, some of that. Like I feel I think even though that you may not want to kind of like separate yourself from a genre or like kind of mold yourself into one genre, I think you're gonna have to sometimes, you know, and like kind of see your influence there, like what made me write this song, or like I think that's a good tip for a lot of upcoming musicians, you know.
Yeah. When you're just starting out, do you think it's easier to market when you are a part of a niche or a certain genre? Or do you think it's easier when you are genreless?
That's such a good question though. I mean, like just because I mean, man, just because I live in Baltimore, so it's like as I tell, super genreless. It's very like I have friends who I have multiple friends with in different genres of music. You know, I have friends who are I have a friend who is doing like ukulele music, but like she is also doing like 80s indie pop kind of style disco songs, you know? And like I have a friend who's like a rapper, but he also does like indie rock as well too. So it's like super, super, you know, like you never. I think for me, in terms of marketing, yes, it's very important to do genres. You know,
Yeah.
I'm just a very marketing kind of person.
No, me too.
You
I'm
know,
fascinated by it. Cause yeah, like I've gone back and forth both sides of the fence about it and all the education I tried going through over the years.
yeah,
You hear both sides of it, but then also, yeah, when you're first starting out, sometimes it's easier when you have a genre that your music may be more attributed toward, because
yeah,
then you can market it, especially if you're trying to cut through the clutter from the beginning.
yeah.
Sometimes it's harder when you don't have that niche.
I think also like it's I think you need to know your influences first. You know what I mean? Like
That's a good point.
you know, just because or if you don't have a genre that you don't think of specifically, then maybe your influences should be your first market thing. Because I feel like oh like you know if my first thing is Aerosmith or like ACDC, then you're gonna have to find like that niche of audience. You know,
Yeah.
because I feel like yeah, definitely my audience would have like you know would be like in this ballpark of like indie pop, you know, or indie rock. But like that's just my guess, you know. I mean,
Yeah.
it could be different for other people's eyes, you know.
Yeah, 100%. Because I've thought about that too. Like, I want to make music where, oh, I didn't want to put a genre to it. I want to try and, let's say, make my own thing. Or
Sure.
I don't know what my music may sound like. It doesn't sound like my influences. So I just thought,
Mm,
I don't know exactly who to market it toward. Maybe that audience will not exactly feel the same way I do. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, like I've, learning all this stuff over the years of music and marketing, yeah. Because I want to market it and like, you want it to be heard, but sometimes it's hard to find the correct audience to market to. But yeah, back and forth about it. Yeah, exactly. I've heard a lot of things about that. But that's so when you released She Got Me High, that was your first song. I noticed you got like over like what, 15, 20,000 streams on Spotify
20,
alone.
yeah, 20,000, yeah.
So yeah, let's talk about the marketing strategy behind that song.
Dude, I just went blindly, man. I mean, like to be honest, like I submitted to several radio stations, several, like as in like not several actually, more like I can show you the receipts of like I sent it to everyone.
100%, I'd be down. Yeah, because I
Dude,
love learning. Yeah.
yeah, literally. I mean, like I've gotten probably only what like 10 replies, but like that's still like even if you submit it to 1,000 radio or like 1,000 playlisters, as long as you get those 10, that's awesome. That you're still like
Got to
getting
shoot your
music.
shot, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. I
Yeah.
feel like in music, it's like you just have to go blindly confident, you know. But yeah, like I like marketing wise, I did well. I know that it was my first song, and it was kind of my way of saying that here's planned that here's my solo project. I did like a Instagram live virtual release party, and I call it a virtual music video release party, which is really cool. And I had a bunch of my friends like kind of like sing on Instagram live, for me, and like kind of celebrating the whole like music video and the whole release of Plant Dad. So I feel like that's how you really get a community towards your base, because I feel like that's the main thing. Like I think before the pandemic, obviously it's like kind of you playing a show, right? So it's like you're getting to know the community within that. But because now I think it's kind of the same thing, to be honest. Like you curating a show, and then like like you showcase so that their friends can know who you are, through their lens.
Yeah. For sure, for sure. That and doing the Instagram live, getting people involved, especially when it was a time we couldn't go to as many live events, that was cool that was a cool way to get people involved.
For sure, for sure.
Going back to when you were talking about the playlist submissions and even radio stations, were you reaching out via email? Were you finding email addresses? Was it all DM? How did you go about it?
A little bit of both. I mean, because I've DM'd some people on Instagram for playlist submissions, and then I've also emailed a lot of people in websites as well to submit through websites, submit through like different management, recording management, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, a little bit of both.
And the playlist managers, the ones running those playlists, how did you find their contact info? How did you find them?
Man, that's all research. It's literally just like I'm just so blindly like kind of like I'm just such a go-getter when it comes to these things that I feel like I'm such in a haze too when I like look up to people. So I'm like, all right, who's playlisting? And like I look up indie playlisting, indie rock playlist, So it's
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
but also it's good too to like look at Spotify and be like look at playlists that your artists were in too. So it's
Yeah.
like so I feel like that's a good way. That's how I did it. So look at Spotify, like who's taking in playlists, or you can add people and like look at their Instagram, So it's kind of like just a matter of like being a CIA. Be like, ooh, how are you really? What's your profile on Instagram? Let me DM you, like So it's like such that.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
grassroots from the bottom up, just
Yeah,
going
dude.
after that. That's a great
Yeah.
strategy. Yeah,
Yeah.
because you never know who it may reach and it could go anywhere from there.
Yeah.
So She Got Me High was the first single you released.
Hmm.
And then you also have 12 Rounds and the newest single, Del Mar.
Yeah.
So the influences and the sound of Del Mar, your recent single, and even 12 Rounds, would you say it's the same sound as She Got Me High, or is it a different version of Plant Dad?
Good question. It's a different producer though.
Oh,
So
cool,
yeah,
cool.
yeah. So shout out to Sean Mercer. His ad is at Sacred Bacon, Sacred underscore Bacon. Super super awesome.
That's
But
a great name. That's
yeah,
a
yeah,
great
yeah,
name.
yeah. Shout out to him. But dude, yeah. I mean, like I think it's kind of the same thing to be honest. Like it's kind of 80s inspired. I just love the keyboard. I play piano. I played piano when I was a kid. But I just recently got into synths and like kind of just effects in the piano, like putting chorus pedals in there.
Yeah.
So I think it's still the same kind of sound, but it's a different producer, Still like kind of more synthy, a lot of keyboards. I actually have like a cool Roland like jazz piano, but I like
Nice.
put in like a lot of effects, like a lot of reverb, vibratos, all that tremolos, really cool.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
cool. It's like you're treating the piano like an additional guitar too to
Yeah,
add the effects.
exactly,
That's really
exactly.
cool.
In 12 rounds, you hear like the solo, da-da-da-da-da. That's me. That's me playing, which is really cool.
So Sean, he produced Del Mar and 12 Rounds.
Hmm.
That's cool, and he's from Baltimore as well.
Baltimore, yeah.
So yeah, was it the same process with these two songs? Did you write a rough draft on your own and then you brought it to Sean, or did you both write and produce it together from the beginning?
That's so funny. Well, actually, let me say it like this. Let me make a plug for Sean first, just because Sean is also producing for this one country artist, Jackson Dean. Very cool. Like,
Nice,
as in
nice.
like he also produces for everyone in Baltimore, which is like just really awesome because it's like he's such a broad talent.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, just gushing about him. But yeah, like I take a rough draft. I think like my process is that I make the song. I mean, I write it in guitar sometimes, or actually mainly in guitar. And so like, I would write like a chord progression, and then like kind of play around with the arrangements myself, and then submit it to Sean or like see like, hey, like what can we like do about this? 12 rounds was super weird because I wrote it like with my friend Nay, who's like the other singer, which is she's awesome as well too. She just released music too, and gave it to. Well, we did it together. We arranged it together, and it was cool because like it sounded like a cool indie song. It sounded like Foster the People, which is awesome, which was what we wanted. And then like we gave it to Sean, and he was like scrapping. He's like, okay, I like the piano, I like the bass, but not anything else. Well, I mean, he didn't say that, but like he did scrap a lot of things. And I was like, oh man, but still, like it's a cool like I think like that process really helps him kind of create that vision, And like I feel like
Yeah.
he wants this like genre, or he wants a mold of everything in whatever this rough draft is.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like I love producing in that way, just because it's like I give him one thing, and like actually, well, Delmar was super super blank slate. It was kind of just me playing the electric guitar super poorly, and then like we arranged it together. We had an arranging session. We played some guitars together, played some keyboards. It was an awesome time. Yeah,
Yeah, that's a really cool process.
yeah.
Moving forward, even with the rest of 2022, do you have more music in the works?
Yeah, I do. In terms of what Planet, or in terms of like anything else?
Plant Dad first.
Okay, cool.
Let us know what's next for
Yeah,
Plant Dad.
yeah. Plant Dad is coming out. Well, I I don't want to tease it as much, but like I am gonna have an EP soon, like EP, maybe in the summer, maybe in September. So it's like kind of in that kind of ballpark.
Hmm. Yeah.
But I do have some collaborations in there, which is gonna be really cool. Um, and then I might even release like after that, I may release like a Baltimore, like kind of remix of like every song that I've made.
Yeah. Oh, so you're gonna maybe do some remixes of what this EP will be, like
Exactly.
alt mixes, even different styles,
Yeah,
takes on it?
yeah. So like I have a song where it's super kind of indie R&B ish, and then like I'm gonna make it like in the Baltimore mix super hip hop with like rappers in there, which is really cool.
Yeah, that sounds awesome. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a cool way. You never know who that could reach when you do the different versions of the songs.
No, for real. Yeah.
Because especially because yeah, you own your masters, you're independent.
Yeah.
You have the freedom to do whatever you'd like, distribute it however you like.
Right. Yeah. But
That's the
also, I
really
feel
cool
like
part.
collaboration is such a big thing for
Oh
me.
yeah,
you know?
100%. Yeah.
I mean, like a lot. Actually, most of my songs I've written it with someone for sure. I mean, like like as a songwriter, like it's such a stigma to like, oh, I write all my songs. But I feel like collaboration is such an important key for me.
It
Like,
can be so powerful. It's great.
oh, dude, for sure,
It's great having an extra person to write
for
with.
sure.
I want to collaborate more this year because
Yeah,
it's like you never know what could come of it, and it could just make a
Yeah.
song into something like a totally different behemoth.
do you write all your songs, or do you?
So far, yeah, I've written all
Nice.
my songs. I've used some. I produce on my own and write on my own.
Okay. Oh, nice.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah,
What
it's
do you?
cool.
What do you produce? Like what?
I use Pro Tools and Logic, but more
Nice.
exclusively Logic, and I just produce it in my house because I
Man,
started
Logic is
writing.
amazing. You know what
I
I mean?
love Logic, yeah.
Yeah.
But some of my songs have some royalty-free splice samples.
Nice.
So also like software instruments in Logic. I played some guitar and used like a drum machine and just recorded my vocals at home.
Nice. Yeah. Yeah.
But with 2022, especially like now that we could be out and about again, you know,
Yeah.
like I wanna
Like,
meet
play
new
it.
people, write with new people. Like that'll be fun.
Yeah. For
You
sure.
know what I mean? Like how it was, you know.
I mean, like, yeah, like collaborating is such the big thing. I mean, like the dream is to this is the dream kind of job is definitely like right for people, like as like my career.
So that's your dream job. Yeah.
Yeah, but obviously a plan is like my main, like I want to
No, I got you, I
perform
got you.
and but like I like collaborating is gives me such a big high,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
she got me high. But
Hey.
like yeah. No, but like literally
That's a
like
good plug.
yeah. No, but like it literally gives you like a big rush just because it's like super synergetic, but also like,
Yeah.
like your talents is kind of combined together. Or like, like I have a friend, her name is Nay. I always collaborate with her. Like I think maybe two of my songs are with her, like kind of it's not mostly her, but it's mostly me. But she would kind of add like a verse in there, or like she would add like, oh, what if you do this? So it's super like I feel like you just need those people, like especially
Yeah.
when you're making quality music. You don't want to just like, I mean, it's cool to label it as your own, obviously, but it's also like for me, such a big collaborative process to do,
Yeah. Yeah. No, but that's exactly the collaborative process. You never know where it could go. And you get that extra critique, the live feedback. It turns it into a whole new animal. That's the best part.
For
yeah.
sure, for sure.
So, what are your biggest influences?
Mm,
Music influences. Who'd you grow up loving? Who do you love now?
that's a really good question. I mean, like it's a good question because I can't answer it so much. I mean, I can name you a lot just because the Beatles is my first.
Okay.
I think everyone's like is the Beatles because like the Beatles just every album, well not except actually every album has such like bangers, such hits. I feel like it's their melodies are super awesome. Even like Sgt. Pepper's, Lonely Hearts Club is
Yeah.
like even it's super like experimental in arrangement. It's like still their melodies are like flowy. Like it's still you still like remember it.
Technology they were doing back then, like the innovations in the studio
Yeah.
for like the mid to late 60s, it was
Mhm.
wild.
No, yeah, I literally have I love watching documentaries, and like I watched this Beatles documentary where it's like they just put like a guitar amp through like this big cone of like a metal sheet, and it sounded like distorted, which is which is really cool because I think they put that for the White Album. But like
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
yeah, and the Beatles I feel like for me is like such a big influence because one like their their producer is amazing. I don't know, forgot the producer's name, but like
With George Martin, right?
I think that's like one. Is it George Martin?
I think he was an engineer.
Oh, okay,
I think he was a producer. I think that was his name, George Martin.
sure,
Yeah.
okay, but yeah, I
Not
mean,
100%.
yeah, but like literally, like, but also just their melodies wise, like, are amazing. The Beatles, I really like Kraftwerk as like a synth, electronic band.
Yeah, nice,
Super.
nice.
I mean, like with melodies, but like super, like kind of just straight shot, minimalistic. I love
Yeah.
that kind of stuff, And then like, super into a lot of indie artists lately, like Vampire Weekend. I love their guitar riffs. So it's like like such a broad mix. I even like like Dayglow. Recently I've been getting into like this I think his name is Gus Dapperson. Have you ever heard Gus Dapperson?
He was featured on Super Lonely by Benet.
Yeah,
Yeah,
dude, he's
yeah.
amazing, man. Like literally, in terms of like innovation, anything, fashion, like style
Because
wise.
he's also a songwriter and producer in his own right.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah,
Is that
yeah, and I think he writes the songs with people too, which is really cool. So I think that's like,
nice?
yeah, that's definitely the dream is to like not be him, but like kind of that's
No, I got you.
yeah.
So, in terms of your career aspirations, so you want to also, of course, do your projects like Plant Dad. And you said the band you're working on also is the Wontons.
Yeah,
Did I say that right?
yeah,
Gotcha. So you want to be a part of your own projects, but also be a songwriter for other artists as well. Is that what a big dream is for you
for sure.
to do both?
For sure. I mean, like, well, the Wontons is kind of like it's just kind of a band that I do on the side.
Gotcha.
I used to be full time with the Wontons. Just before the pandemic. Like, I actually it started like after high school, but of course, I mean, like, I just wanted to do Planet more in this kind of scenario, you know.
Yeah, yeah. What drove you to want to really chase after Plant Dad compared to being in a band? What really inspired that?
Such a good question because I don't know. I mean, like, I do know. I think Plant Dad. I mean, like, I just wanted like a band on my own, or like a thing on my own where I can hire people and like play with me. You know, I feel like it's such a cool. Like I feel like solo projects is such an amalgamation of like what you really aspire to do. You know, because I feel like She Got Me High, or like just in general, songs wise, I like writing songs, but I also love arranging. I also like collaborating. So it's kind of a mix of like what I love. You know.
Yeah.
So I feel like that's what really made me kind of gung ho about, okay, I want to do Plant Dad as like a full time thing, you know?
Yeah. Do you also have music coming out in the future with the Wontons, or is that the music you have also for later in 2022?
We have a surprise thing in Valentine's Day. So
Oh, okay,
yeah.
okay.
When is this coming out, by the way? Like what?
This will be out Wednesday, February 9th. This will be out.
Nice, cool.
Wednesday, February 9th. Yeah.
Cool. What a cool plug then. That's nice.
Yeah,
But,
dude.
yeah. But yeah, it's gonna come out in February 4th. Oh, the Valentine's Day. So it's gonna be a cool like folky.
We'll make a
cover.
clip of it. I'm gonna make it. We'll
Yes,
clip it. We'll
dude,
clip
nice,
it.
nice. But yeah, we're gonna do a surprise thing just because I mean like we've been so dormant forever. Like as in like if you want to check out the Wontons, it's on YouTube. We did like super a lot of Sylvan Esso covers, and then like after those we just stopped. You know, just because like we kind of drifted on our own paths. You know, like just like, she has her own thing, I had my own thing, and then we kind of converged together just to record like a small one song. It's pretty cool, man. Yeah,
That's cool. So you
Yeah.
came. At least you came back to like, grease the wheels a little bit again. Do that one song.
exactly.
But that's exciting. I'm excited for Valentine's Day to see what you guys are gonna come out with. You got a surprise. Put the plug on here.
Yeah.
That'd be cool. That'd be cool. That'd be cool.
Yeah, and but also I also have another band as well too. Like I can't say the name just yet, but it's a country band. I like country music as well too. A country band, and we have a song called Malibu. Probably gonna be out in March or April.
So are you a big country music fan? And is country
Yeah.
music an inspiration to your songwriting?
Yeah, for sure.
That's
glad
awesome.
you asked because literally like I love.
Yeah,
country
let's talk
music.
about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, country music to me is such a like. I mean, country in a sense that it's so storytelling. I'm not that kind of songwriter, but like I aspire to be like. I aspire to want to relate to that kind of songwriting. Like talking about your life, talking about your day, and kind of just in a matter of poetic lines. But yeah, man, 60s country I just love. 70s country I love, like Willie Nelson. I have all his vinyls. Dolly Parton, like
You Johnny Cash fan too?
not so much, but like I mean,
all good, it's all
yeah,
good.
yeah. But I just love the Nashville sound, like just
Yeah,
because like
yeah.
Willie Nelson had that Nashville sound, like
Yeah.
super. Red Headed Stranger is one of my favorite albums. Like listen to Remember Me all the time, or Denver, or The Waves. I just love that. Like I feel like country is a kind of a big influence too, but not so much obviously for Planet. But like I feel like yeah, like just the way songwriting is super essential to country for sure. I definitely is a super big
Yeah.
influence.
Over the last couple of years, I've gotten more inspired by country because yeah, like you said, there's a storytelling aspect to it that it's really cool. Like, and I went to Nashville a couple of years ago in like
Did
the
you
fall of
actually?
20.
Nice.
Yeah, like, and I've always wanted to go, and I loved it. It was a beautiful city. I definitely want to go back. And even like, we went to like the RCA studios where Elvis used to record the
Wow.
like the different
Elvis is cool
museums.
too,
Like,
yeah.
yeah, we saw they had like all. The Country Music Museum, I believe, or Hall of Fame.
Nice.
We went to a couple. It was like the Johnny Cash Museum, then like the Country Music Hall of Fame, where they had like the decades of all.
Yeah.
everything displayed, and it was fascinating. Like it really opened my eyes, learning about the history of it and
Oh
the
yeah,
Nashville sound. Like
for
it was
sure.
so sick. It was really eye opening, and it made me want to discover and even search out more country because it was something, especially growing up, I didn't necessarily listen to it as much.
Did you ever get fried chicken from Nashville?
Yeah, I did. Like,
Dude,
yeah, twice when I
amazing.
was down there. It was great. It
For
was
sure. Oh
delicious.
my
It
god.
was fucking
I
delicious.
mean, in terms of like South, I feel like, well, this is me going on a tangent, but like Southern food, this is one of the best, man. Literally, I went to Texas, I think 5 years ago. Barbecue, amazing. But I feel like Nashville fried chicken, one of the best, man. One of the best for sure.
What's the best Baltimore food?
That's a good question. Hmm. I'm trying to make a good plug because it's like I love all the restaurants there, you
The
know?
fate of the city rests on your shoulders right now.
Don't
Plant
say
that.
that, man.
If you mess this up, you won't be allowed back.
Well, here's man, my friends are gonna hate me for this because I feel like they know my answers because like they're gonna know I'm gonna plug. Okay, I'm gonna make one plug for my favorite restaurant or their favorite restaurant. It's called Ekiben, which is like cool Asian these like kind of buns. I forgot what it's called, rice buns. I don't know, but like rice buns with like meat on it, which is really cool.
It sounds really good.
Yeah, but I do want to make a quick plug, and my friend's gonna laugh at this one. It's called Taos and Best. Like I just love that place, just because it's like super cheap Chinese food. It's not a Baltimore staple, but like it's like a staple where I go to all the time in Baltimore. It's called Taos and Best, and like I get super cheap Chinese food, sushi, whatever, all that kind of stuff. But if you were to ask me, okay, what's like where should you go to Baltimore for food?
It could be whatever you'd like.
Okay. So I would definitely say Golden West Cafe in Hamden. It's a good vegan kind of Baltimore. Like it's cool to just see Baltimore food to be like, oh, here's another way that you can do it. A lot of Hamden restaurants, man. Like just go to Hamden. If this is gonna make it to someone and be like, I want to go to Baltimore, definitely go to Hamden and go to those restaurants for sure. Make
That's
quick
the thing,
plug,
because
quick
I want to
plug.
take a trip to Baltimore soon.
Yeah.
You're my vessel into the city, Plant
Dude,
Dad.
yeah, just call me up.
I'm
Dude.
trying to get educated. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, dude, just text me and be like, I want to go, and I'll treat you.
No doubt. That'd be sick.
do
That'd be
it.
sick.
Yeah,
Because, yeah, like exploring new cities, like it's a cool drive,
for sure.
but nice, nice. Yeah, talking about country music. So, how would you describe Plant Dad genre? What is Plant Dad genre?
I would say indie. Indie being the sense that like it's independent. It's not with someone. But like it is kind of indie pop, indie rock, indie like it's definitely a pop music genre. Just because I feel like pop music for me is like all about like the hook, and the hook of the melody. So I feel like that to me like is what I like about Planet. It's like indie pop.
Yeah. So, when you're songwriting and writing Plant Dad songs, the hook is a central point to
Oh, for
the
sure.
process for
For
you.
sure. Just because I feel like, I mean, here's just my opinion on a song. This could be for anyone else. Like, I feel like everyone's kind of perspective of music is super different, and that's why I love music. Is because you can reach someone who doesn't really see eye to eye to you, or it could be like someone who you see eye to eye in so many different ways, or many ways. But like, I think that like, um, I don't know, man. Like, yeah. Wait, what was the question again? Sorry.
When you're writing songs,
Uh-huh.
is the hook
Oh
important
yeah,
to the
yeah, yeah.
process? Is it central to the goal?
Yeah, I think like
Focusing on the hook.
yeah. I think my idea of a song is that like, or music is that my music is that if it doesn't catch my ear or doesn't catch like a melody in my ear, then I just scrap it. Like just because it's like like it's a cool melody, but will it really like hook me while I'm like repeating it over and over again? My process is like kind of like just me like kind of repeating like a melody over and over again until like I kind of like, that's a good melody. And like if I sing it like in the car, that's a sign of a good song for sure.
Yeah, for sure. And now, because you have content creation, social media, TikTok, you're fighting for everyone's attention spans. There's so many choices out
Oh
there.
yeah,
You're
for
trying to
sure.
fight to get them to check out your work.
Yeah.
Sometimes people say you got to catch them in the first 3 seconds.
Yeah.
You got to have that quick 30-second addicting hook.
Yeah.
Do you think that it matters having like a good loopable 15 seconds? Do you think songwriters should focus on that if they're trying to get discovered?
I don't think so. I mean, like, I think for me, is that like obviously yes, like you need to have a good hook and like good like catchy melody. But I feel like for me, that to me is my introspective kind of scenario. Like it just feels good to me. I feel like if you make songs for other people, then that's when your art kind of like this is my opinion. Like obviously like it's
Yeah,
just
of course.
different,
Yeah, we're just talking.
yeah.
Yeah.
But like if it's like if it's if you're making music for people and like you want them to like it, it's kind of like there. I mean, that purpose kind of is a little bit weird to me.
I
Like
gotcha. I gotcha.
I feel like music is super therapeutic and emotional in a sense that like if it feels good to you, then listeners will attract to that.
Yeah.
As long as that you think or that you especially yourself feel that okay, this is like what I want to put out there. Back to Del Mar, like my single, is that like like that melody just like kind of like hit me. Like whenever I sing it, it's super like I get super emotional just because like I I like that in my head. When I wrote it.
Yeah.
So definitely like it's not a necessity, but if that's your spot, like for people who are listening, yeah, like definitely like that's probably gonna be important. But like definitely for me, like art is super introspective and like like what matters is yourself for sure.
Yeah. It's all about what the individual wants to accomplish for sure.
Right, exactly.
So your new single Del Mar just came out Friday, January 21st. Congrats on the release.
Thanks, man.
That's
Yeah.
exciting. So let's talk about the inspiration behind that song, the lyrical inspiration.
Mm.
What inspired the lyrics to Del Mar?
Good question. Well, so
Take
Del
your time,
Mar,
it's all
yeah,
good.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
Del Mar, well, I always say that like in with songwriting, like there's always three functions to a song. Like one is like you're like, oh, what's the song gonna be about? Like that's one. And then like, what's the feeling now during like mixing and production, and then like after. So like the first like meaning is like it's like about falling in love with someone you're not supposed to fall in love with. Like it's about a song. Like the lyrics go like, I don't mind us having more time for free. I feel like it's like kind of like the character or me saying that like I wish I can get to spend more time with you for unconditionally. So it's kind of but like the person's like like super iffy and like kind of toxic towards one another. So it's like kind of like you're falling in love with that person who's such a imagination of your dreams, but like it's not like gonna pan out obviously in the reality. That's the first meaning, and then like the third one is most the latter meaning is like the reason why I put a lot of my my friends in that audio is because like it's kind of like a love letter to my friends. It's like kind of I want to spend more time with them conditionally, like like it's such a fun time. But also Del Mar, I actually inspired me for that title is that I went to California, I think in the summer or in the spring last year. And like such a beautiful time, man. Like it was the first time I went with my friends. Um and it was kind of my first time like loving the state of California. Like it's like such an amazing feeling, amazing state to be honest. Like it's so jaded by LA, but like I went to Big Bear, went to like Arrowhead. It was the best time for sure.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
How do you plan to market this new single?
Well, like a lot of interviews. I'm doing podcasts as well too. But like I've been like going on blogs and like I've been submitting it through websites, all that kind of stuff. But yeah, but playlists, all that stuff. But for me, Del Mar, I want to kind of like slowly promote it. Like definitely interviews, and then like I will have a music video soon on Del Mar, which is really cool.
Nice.
But yeah, like I feel like for me, I do want to have a slow kind of promotion process for sure.
Slow rollout. So right now you're focusing on some blog placements, reaching out to curators, and also some podcast interviews.
For sure.
Do you plan on doing a lyric video before the music video?
Yeah, I don't know, man. Because I mean, like lyric videos are usually animated. I don't really have like much animation skills, so might not. But I may like put a music video and then like lyrics below it.
I got you.
Yeah.
And also, any other social media content to market the new release? Are you going to do, let's say, a merch giveaway, some like live streams? Like, what else are you planning for the content?
Yeah.
To market Del Mar?
I'm gonna do probably like a virtual music concert event again for the music video. Just basically all my friends, but also like I want it to be a lot chiller because like I feel like the first two, I've kind of went ahead and be super like gung ho and like also, and ad money is it takes a lot of your money too, you know. Like no one
Yeah.
has told me about music, and it's such a money guzzling thing. I love it though. I love
Yeah.
music because it's like such a emotional process and like super like I feel like a part your music is your baby, to be honest. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I feel
For
like
sure.
I feel like the like you create it and like you mold it to however you want, and that's it. You know,
And then you put it out to the world
yeah, exactly.
to deal with the world.
Yeah,
And you
exactly.
see how it handles the world.
No, exactly, for real. And like literally, like with Del Mar, I always wanted to kind of like just like slowly get out there, just because like 12 rounds, I did so many things. I did like a promotion. I did like I spent a lot of like ad money on it. Actually, we just recently got it on radio, which is really cool.
Oh, like terrestrial radio?
Hmm.
Nice. That's awesome. Well, like a station like where?
Yeah, and WTMD, which is like a Baltimore station, which is really cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
Congrats.
man. Thanks, man.
Yeah, ad money, Facebook and Instagram ads. I recently started trying to test headlines. I'm trying out new vertical video ads
Nice.
to try and, get some new activity, just test out the waters.
Yeah.
Ad money as an independent artist, because we're also wearing the hat of a record label.
Oh, dude.
We
for
want our
real.
music to be heard.
Yeah.
What have you done with Facebook ads? Like, how do you set it up? What advice would you give to other independent artists trying to run ads?
Yeah, as an indie artist, like you are basically your own record label and own management, to be honest. Like
Yeah.
your own booker, your own like venue, like scope researcher or whatever, or like you find other artists that are similar to you, So like basically, with Facebook, I've done like those. I mean, the one tip that I would give out to an artist is that find your audience. Like I feel like now, like okay, like my genre is genreless, but like what could you really put it into? Like there's an umbrella full of like different genres, but there's only like six that's like either your rock, pop, rap, hip hop, or hip hop or rap, or if you're like electronic, so it's like super like in those kind of five.
Those umbrellas, yeah.
So literally like, okay, if I don't fall into like, I fall into indie, maybe it's either rock or pop. So it's like super, so it's like kind of like that scenario, like,
Yeah.
so if you know your market, obviously like it'd be cool if people from the hip hop world will listen to your songs. That's great.
For sure.
But definitely like you need to know your audience kind of soon, because like you want to market to those people and you don't want it to like be a broad spectrum,
Yeah.
So for me, what you got me high, I literally just put a lot of tags like indie this, like pop, tags are very important too, just because like you want them to know who you are,
Yeah. So you were putting a lot of hashtags and tags when you were pushing out the content,
Right, yeah.
the content used for ads. So you were focusing on certain hashtags. too.
Yeah, for sure.
That's cool. I went to school, high school, 2011 to 2015. So like the late 2000s, early 2010s, the indie pop, indie rock movement was huge. And
Yeah,
like
for sure.
throughout like music history, it's like you had like indie rock or independent when it was like just what was not the mainstream or signed to majors, like throughout the 80s and 90s,
Yeah.
that alt rock. But then also what you had last decade was the indie pop and indie rock sound, where it was called indie, but it was like a certain genre, which this has always intrigued me. How like you had like, let's say, like Walk the Moon, Imagine Dragons in
yeah.
1975, Vampire Weekend.
Yeah,
They're like
yeah.
indie.
For sure.
Why do you think it's called, like what inspired the tag indie pop and indie rock, even though like it's not independent, but it was like a certain like bright sound. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I'm trying to say?
For sure. I don't know, man, because literally
Why do you think it was called like indie? Like,
Yeah, it's a good question. I don't know, just because it's like you are right, because I feel like Vampire Weekend was indie in like that
Yeah.
sense, but they're with a record label, so it's like, what does that mean?
yeah,
I think like it was called indie before they were signed.
yeah,
I think that's what it is. Is that like I feel like a lot of different genres like kind of start out like as like, okay, they're indies because they're independent, but like as soon as they become bigger and bigger, record labels like, oh, labels would be
Yeah.
like, wow, like that's actually like a good sound. Maybe I'll sign them.
yeah,
So I think like that's how it starts. Is that like you have a subculture first as an indie musician, and then like once like you get bigger and bigger, like you get signed, and like you still kind of are in that indie realm.
Yeah.
So I think that's what it is.
because that's not me throwing shade at all. Because like I'm trying to, not at all, because I loved a lot of those bands,
Yeah,
because
for
they
sure.
were like, when I was growing up, they were like the popular rock and pop bands at the time.
Yeah,
like
man.
even had like Foster the People, The
Yeah.
Neighborhood, like those bands that were under that, I guess, indie umbrella.
Mm-hmm.
and I'm an artist and musician, I'm trying to learn more about marketing and the different genres, who and what to market to. And
Sure.
you look at the different genres throughout the decades of music industry history, right?
Mm.
So
Mhm.
like you went across that. It's like, wow, it's like, yeah, what inspired that tag? Because like I guess you had a lot of it was like kind of guitar based with like pop and electronic and
Yeah.
like that kind of production influences. So it's cool, like the tags that go along with a certain music movement.
Yeah, I
You know
think
what I
so.
mean?
Yeah.
So Delmar just came out. We talked about the marketing strategy. What is next for Plant Dad moving throughout 2022? What big plans do you have ahead?
Definitely releasing an EP in the summer, or September. That's the main goal. So a lot of collaborations. I'm gonna do some like features and like some rappers here and there. I'm gonna be doing some collaboration with songwriters, which is really cool. I think definitely just a lot of music from for me, which is really cool. Like I feel like I'm really blessed to have this career and like be a little bit more in the spotlight, which is really awesome.
Yeah, for sure. What about touring? Do you have shows or any tours coming up?
Good question. Yeah, I have some shows coming up well, still in Baltimore, but am planning out a tour maybe in the East Coast. So I'm still gathering like networks towards that, but maybe I'm definitely gonna have probably a show in New York soon. So
Mhm.
yeah,
What else would you like to promote? Let us know your social media handles.
yeah. Instagram is at plantdad_music, and then my Facebook is Plant Dad Music. SoundCloud is Plant Dad, and then I actually have a website now, which is really cool. Yeah, I think here's a good tip too. If you're a musician, like EPKs are very, very important. Electronic press kits,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
as in like get a website now. I mean, like obviously, like you need to release music first, and then kind of like kind of put yourself out there. But like after you've done that, I think I waited just because it's like I wanted to wait first before I'm established and actually playing shows, because I feel like now that like everything is kind of opening back up, I feel like yes, you need to like as a musician, you need to also kind of have two hats. It's like social media presence, but also like kind of a presence with the stage, just as like as a musician fully.
Mhm. What advice do you have to musicians just starting out and they want to make this their full-time career?
Just put yourself out there, like just blindly be confident, and like but also too is that like I mean this is just for me, I guess, just because like collaboration is such an important thing. Don't be afraid to collaborate with someone. I feel like that's like the main thing. Like you learn from those people, and like like unless like you're like what like the best like John Lennon or like Paul McCartney or something like that, then you're fine. You know what I mean? Like or I mean like even like when they were teens, like they were amazing songwriters. So but like I feel like if you are like kind of starting out, definitely have a person that's not just a yes man and kind of collaborate with you and like, oh, maybe we should do that something else. That's different. Like, oh, that melody is a little bit iffy there. So like you have like a filter with your stuff. Because I feel like people come out with songs, which is awesome. I love it. But sometimes it's like, like they just put it out just because like they just want to put it out. But also maybe you wanted to refine it and you need that person to be your refiner.
Yeah, for sure. Well, be sure to check out Plant Dad on all social media platforms. Plantdad_music, right? That's the IG.
Mhm.
He has a new website. What's the website again?
Plantdadmusic.com.
And what about what's your YouTube, TikTok, Facebook? Let us know all of your social media
Yeah,
handles.
it's all Plant Dad. It's all just but also my TikTok, I normally use it, but like I normally just use it for like funny stuff. So Plant Papa, that's my handle,
Nice,
Plant
nice.
Papa. Yeah,
Plant Papa.
yeah.
Make sure to check him out on social media. Check out the discography on all streaming platforms. Recently released his newest single, Delmar, which was released January 21st. And yes, thank you for coming on the show. This was really cool.
Thanks so much, man. That's
All the
awesome. Yeah,
way from Maryland. Shout out
all the way.
Baltimore.
Shout out. I mean, Baltimore, my favorite city ever for sure.
That's awesome. Well, thank you to everyone who's checked out another episode of Miltrick Media. I'm your host, Miltrick. This was Plant Dad, and we will see you soon.
Cool. Safe.